The current live trading price for BBai is $6.37, showing a significant upward movement of 5.89% on the day. Now, most people look at a move like this in a stock that's been as volatile as BBai and think, okay, another speculative pop, probably driven by some headline or social media chatter, and it's not going to last. That's the typical expectation. But the reality is far more interesting and tells a deeper story. This isn't just a random spike. It's happening against a backdrop of specific, measurable activity that points to a shift in the underlying dynamic, particularly in the options market. The sheer volume and concentration of bullish call options, especially those with strike prices above the current stock price, are creating a powerful feedback loop. It suggests that a segment of the market isn't just hopping for a rise. They're actively betting on it in a way that can force price action through a gamma squeeze. This kind of heavy options activity often precedes or accompanies sharp price movements, and for a name like BigBear.ai, which has a relatively high short interest, it can be a potent catalyst. The common narrative for BBai is that it's a high-risk, high-reward play, a pure speculation AI stock that got a lot of buzz but hasn't fully delivered on its promise. The company's past earnings reports have often been a source of disappointment, with misses on both revenue and EPS, which has kept a lid on any sustained rally. People see the volatility and the negative profitability and assume it's just a place for short-term traders to make a quick buck, not a serious investment. They look at the chart, see the dramatic swings up and down, and file it away as a name to watch from the sidelines or to play with a small, disposable portion of their capital. But this view misses the nuance of what's happening beneath the surface, especially when you look at the recent institutional activity and the broader market environment for AI-related stocks. The recent price action for BigBear.ai has been anything but quiet. The stock has been on a roller coaster, and while today's move is impressive, it's part of a larger pattern of significant daily swings. Just a couple of days ago, it saw a massive 16.7% surge on incredibly high volume, followed by some consolidation. This kind of explosive movement, coupled with a volume of over 75 million shares traded today, is a clear signal of intense interest. For context, the 90-day average volume is around 107 million, so today's activity is approaching that mark, indicating a serious influx of capital. This isn't small retail investors pushing the price up with a few thousand shares. This is big, institutional-level money flowing in and out, or at least a large-scale engagement that is creating massive liquidity. Looking at the order books and the trading data, you can see a lot of aggressive buying pressure, particularly in the morning session, which pushed the price past key resistance levels. It's not just a slow grind-up. It's a sharp, decisive move that breaks through prior highs, which is a sign of conviction from buyers. This kind of sustained pressure, especially when it's not immediately sold off, points to something more than simple day trading. It suggests that there are participants with a longer-term perspective who are willing to absorb supply at these higher prices. Adding to the complexity is the institutional activity. While the stock is widely known for its retail investor following, institutional ownership is actually quite substantial, with 396 institutions holding a total of over 141 million shares. What's particularly interesting is the recent trend. The Institutional Sentiment Score, which measures the accumulation of a stock by funds, has shown some positive movement. While the average portfolio allocation for BBai among these funds might be small, the fact that a number of new funds have been adding positions suggests a quiet accumulation is taking place. This often happens behind the scenes, away from the loud headlines. They're not necessarily buying in massive blocks that make the evening news, but their consistent, measured purchases can provide a strong floor for the stock price. This contrasts with the narrative of BBai being purely a retail play. Institutions are clearly in the game, and their presence provides a layer of stability and credibility that is often overlooked. This institutional interest, combined with the extreme trading volume and options activity, paints a picture of a stock that is undergoing a significant transition from a purely speculative name to one that is now attracting more serious, fundamental-driven players. It's this tension between the public perception of BBai as a meme stock and the reality of its growing institutional support that creates the kind of sustained interest we are seeing. Now let's talk about what the company actually does, because that's where the real long-term story lives or dies. BigBear.ai provides artificial intelligence and machine learning for decision support, primarily serving government and commercial clients. Think about national security, defense, and critical infrastructure. They're not making consumer gadgets or competing with NVIDIA stock in the chip space. Their business is about helping customers make faster, more accurate decisions by aggregating, interpreting, and synthesizing vast amounts of data. They have two main segments: cyber and engineering, which offers high-end technology and consulting services like cybersecurity and cloud engineering, and analytics, which focuses on predictive and prescriptive analytics. Their business model is built on securing and executing contracts, often with government agencies like the Department of Defense. This is a very different animal than a Silicon Valley startup. The contract cycles are long, the revenue can be lumpy, and the sales process is highly regulated and bureaucratic. This is part of the reason for the historical earnings volatility. It's not a simple subscription business where revenue grows predictably quarter after quarter. Instead, a few large contract wins or delays can dramatically impact the financial results. They have a history of reporting wider-than-expected losses and revenue that misses analyst estimates. The most recent earnings report in August saw them miss on both EPS and revenue, which sent the stock down, as you would expect. However, it's also worth noting that they have a sizable patent portfolio and a history of deploying machine learning models in critical, high-stakes environments. This is a business built on deep expertise and a long-standing relationship with a very specific type of client. It's a completely different approach to online investing than what you might see with a platform like Schwab Intelligent Portfolios or a self-investing platform like Interactive Brokers. Looking ahead, the future of BBai depends on a few key catalysts and risks. The primary catalyst is their ability to secure and execute on larger, more profitable contracts, especially within the U.S. government and defense sectors. A significant contract announcement, particularly one that is multi-year and high value, would instantly change the narrative and could justify a higher valuation. The company has also been working to expand its commercial footprint, which would diversify its revenue streams and make it less dependent on the government. Any news on that front would be a positive. From a financial perspective, a path to profitability is what the market is truly looking for. While they have been burning cash, showing a clear roadmap to positive free cash flow would go a long way in calming investor nerves and attracting a more stable class of shareholder. On the flip side, the risks are substantial. They operate in a highly competitive space, with much larger companies like Palantir also vying for government and commercial AI contracts. Delays in contract awards, cost overruns, or a general slowdown in government spending could all negatively impact the company. The macroeconomic environment, with high interest rates and a focus on profitability over growth, also puts pressure on companies like BBai that are not yet profitable. This is a common theme across many smaller, high-growth technology companies in this market. For investors who are self-investing and using platforms like Fidelity, these are the kinds of specific, nuanced risks they need to be aware of. They're not just betting on the concept of AI. They're betting on this company's specific ability to navigate a complex, competitive, and at times unpredictable market. In the end, the BBai story is a fascinating study in the psychology of expectation versus reality. The expectation is that this is just another volatile, speculative play that will eventually fizzle out, driven by the whims of online forums and day traders on platforms like Robinhood stock trading. But the reality is that there is a quiet, powerful undercurrent of institutional interest in a business that, while unproven from a profitability standpoint, has a very real, very defensible niche in a high-stakes industry. The recent price action, with its heavy trading volume and call option activity, suggests that this is not just noise, but a meaningful shift in the stock's character. It's a classic case of the market narrative lagging behind the actual developments. Do you think the company's focus on the government and defense sectors is a strength or a weakness in the long run? Comment below. The journey from speculative high flyer to a fundamentally sound company is a long one, and for BBai, the next few quarters will determine whether the current excitement is a temporary blip or the beginning of a new chapter. The core tension remains. Can a company with a proven product in a crucial sector overcome its historical financial struggles to truly live up to the hype? That is the question every investor is trying to answer. The BBai ticker is more than just a symbol of market sentiment. It represents the real-world complexities of a company trying to scale a highly technical and demanding business. And the price today is a direct reflection of that ongoing struggle and a glimpse into the possibility of what comes next.